Okay, so here we are with Mom and Dad. It's the 22nd of January. We're at the farm. It's 2019, and we've talked about a variety of things, but we're going to talk a little bit about the transition from Alaska down to Idaho, I think.
Yeah, we went to Loma Linda first for the 2 years orthodontics, and then on up to Boise.
We'll talk. Keep going.
Anyway, I was quite involved in Boise. I was there 15 years, had a very, very good orthodontic practice. There wasn't very many orthodontists in Boise, and so we did quite well. And I got involved in the Rotary Club, in fact. Let me show you this here. And the Boise Rotary Club got really big, and I was heavily involved, and we decided to open up a Rotary Club in Meridian, which is just 10 miles away. And I was their first president of the Rotary Club in Boise.
Nice.
And again, heavily involved. I was also heavily involved in scouting. We went to Philmont even, and I for a while there I was the vice president of finance for the Ore-Ida Council of Boy Scouts of America for Boise, and we're very involved in scouting. And eventually I went to Wood Badge, got my 2 beads, and then eventually I was on staff and had 3 beads, and eventually have the silver beaver that I could show you that I received the silver beaver, which is fairly high for an adult scouter.
Well, you received that down here in Texas, not in Boise.
That's because I had been involved in so many years of working with the boys, and it's anyway. Also, we were involved in we donated heavy to scouting. I think this one cost me $1,000.
It's an expensive plaque.
And I have quite a few of them that are 500 and things like that they
they don't give these out anymore.
See, look how dirty that is.
They just save their money on the plaque and say thank you for giving us the money.
Okay.
But I've learned when I was over the finance that the LDS Church, our church, the Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, it's fairly easy to start a scout troop and a Cub Scout, because we adopted scouting as a church. But when I worked over finance and worked with other churches, I remember working with the Methodist and the Baptist churches and Presbyterian and all of them. I worked hard. And it was really difficult to get them to agree to even start a unit and start going. But to get them to contribute to scouting was, it's a very discouraging deal. I found that being over finance, I found out that the majority of the money that comes in from scouting goes to the professional scouters. And they were high salaried, some of them there. And it was they were more interested in making money than they were of the good thing that they do is provide camps. And they get those donated. Most of that is donated, and they don't spend as much money as you think on the camps. And even the food in the camps is primarily paid for by the boys that sign up.
Pay for scout camp.
For scout camp, yeah.
Each year, summer.
Fairly expensive for each boy to raise that much kind of money, but that's how they did it. And so we had and there in Boise we had a very close friend. Tom Abbott was the closest friends we had, and he worked for the March of Dimes. That was the profession he had.
Yeah, it was not a volunteer. He was
employed and fairly high up.
Do we still have that? Is that still in existence?
Yeah. March of Dimes. Well, you know that the March of Dimes does contribute to Boy Scouts of America still.
But we learned from him even the same thing. It was only 10% of their money goes to helping the people that the whole thing is designed to help, and 90% of the money goes for salaries of those who are getting the money.
So you learned something about donations and
in fact, I remembered from then on. I don't think I contributed very much at all to anything but the church, because the church donation is. They have some overhead. The brethren and things are supported by the church, but it's so small, comparatively speaking, that we have 90-some% of our money goes to helping the people that it's designed for.
Humanitarian and
so
such.
We have always paid very high. The brethren and the scriptures talk about
you
2 meals for fast offering. The cost of 2 meals on that Sunday, the fast Sunday, the first Sunday of the month, that you contribute that, what you saved, you contribute that to the fast offering. And then we were at conference with one time, and they said, for those who can afford it, we'd like you to double that if you could, which we did. So we went home and talked about it, and we doubled it. And then we were at conference again a few years later, and we were doing quite well. And we heard one of the apostles talk about up to 10 times even, that if you can afford it. Was that President Kimball?
I think it was President Kimball, yeah.
Anyway, so we did, and we have held to that all these years, so that fast offering became a major contribution equal to tithing. Tithing is 10% of your income, and so we had to be careful at tax time that we justified it. We kept our receipts, and so we've been audited a couple of times. It's interesting. We were audited in Boise, which was a bad one because they went back 6 years. But we didn't ever owe anything on our audits, and Mike Black does them down here, our tax time, and we've never had an audit since then.